transfer, Michael Gianfrancaro, one of 7 goalies on the Tewaaraton watch list. At the dot, Brady Wambach, and the freshman Stevie Davis. Here we go from Chapel Hill. Early ground ball from Andrew O'Berry. Another Ivy League transfer that makes a big impact for Carolina.
He does, and he's one of the best short stick defenders in the country.
31 goals last year for Cam Rubin. He was first team All-Ivy. That was his first season at Mitty. Played the first 2 at attack for Mike Murphy. Same 2 at the dot, Davis and Wambach. Carolina in transition. Way off to Duffy, a little wide.
And right now, North Carolina's given up their opportunities. He's right on top of the crease. You think he has almost no angle, but for a guy who's playing in such small situations and tight situations, I should say, in box lacrosse, which is what he grew up in, it really helps you out.
English grew up. Matten is Carolina's assist leader with 7. Last year he only had 5.
He has really taken a step up. I think in his first 2 years, he had to figure it out. He has got that big body as Wambach gets cut off on the fast break. Thought he might have a target there.
Beautiful check from Ryan McLaughlin, and we got a scrum. Lavelle kicks it away, but right to Duffy.
Good double team from Penn. This thing's being whacked around.
Sullivan got in the
North Carolina guy, went to Duke, as you just saw, but also his son and his daughter are down here, so he says this is one of his favorite trips to make.
He's got a lot of memories here. He said not all of them are fond memories of playing against Brescia in that UNC unit, but many memories nonetheless. Lavelle away with the ground ball. We expected faceoffs to be a weakness for Penn. Goals, and then Duffy's ability to manage the game, to get everyone else involved. That's what we've seen. As Duffy's been taken away, North Carolina has relied on the rest of its attack, and they've all chipped in.
Be able to get sticks in lanes, don't let that pass be available, and also make sure there's no ball watching, so those off-ball cutters aren't getting open for that feed.
Barton's 11th career goal. And that was Carolina's 6th face-off win in the first quarter.
Now this Penn offense.
That Matten pass hit the back of Carroll's stick. And at first he was so surprised he couldn't find it.
It's like I said, sometimes with the quick stick, doesn't need to go in your stick. The back would work too. It's like a tennis racket, like I said, but this time it just doesn't connect.
Penn had Will Roberts out there for the face-off. He went early. Petramalo with a quick look. Stays with UNC. Brevin Wilson, one of a couple freshmen quarter. 6-1 North Carolina. Penn has rarely found any breathing room on offense. Face-offs have been a major advantage for UNC as well. 7-1, Carolina leads. O'Berry in transition. Barton scored 1, and he bounced
point blank, especially when it's one-on-one. You know, the goalie is usually at the disadvantage, trying to guess or trying to match to the best of his ability, but he's making the initial saves. North Carolina, credit to them, have been ready for the ball wherever it is and taking the confused Gianfrancaro because he was not positioned correctly and kind of a late reaction. So that was a fantastic play by Cam Rubin to get that goal and get some life into this Penn team.
Barton with a big bouncer.
Can also finish as he does there.
Second goal of the year for the senior. Big score in the second half against Hopkins. Very similar fashion. Finding a little bit of space inside the Hopkins defense.
I mean, Ian, I look at this North Carolina.
Big athletic righty. Mason Suchek, a Midwest kid out of Culver. Joe Bresci loves the poise of Caden Harshbarger. He scored UNC's first goal of the season and scored the eventual game winner at Homewood.
Bresci talked about it and talked about how much he adds to this offense, and you're seeing it on display right now.
Matt, a DC kid out of Gonzaga, football and basketball star in high school as well as lacrosse.
Out of the WCAC.
Wambach eats a big hit. Another deflection right to Petramala. Can't swim through the double team. He did that so well against Hopkins at the end of the game to run about.
Defense, but gets the first one. You'll probably see more. And tough there for Carroll. Got a little tied up on the low bouncer. Low shots on the ground work well.
Davis in transition. Penn open to pick up the pace a little bit. Couple
defense against UNC. Advantage has been with the Tar Heels. They have not given them anything.
There has not been much time to breathe for the Quakers offensively. Penn scraps with Wambach after he wins the initial face-off. UNC eventually comes away with.
I mean, you see it shows on TV. It shows even more in person. He just gets going, and like you said, gets the whole defense looking at him. But that's why I'm so impressed with Lavelle, because when you got a guy like Owen Duffy can turn on the speed, Lavelle has literally stuck with him almost the whole way.
Well, Barry went with the no-look pass. Stevie Davis on the interception. Freshman out of LaSalle. Third-string Fogo for Penn. Leads it
to really jump to that left side, but doesn't know where it's going to go and hits that top corner.
As a goalie, how do you deal with those bounce shots?
You have to attack them. You have to go towards them. That's why the step and the punch of your hand is so important, because your top hand should be matching your foot when you're stepping forward, and Carroll didn't really explode to the ball.
Clean pick from Davis. Right into the big spoon of Gianfrancaro.
And then you got Gianfrancaro on the other end, who plays a little more shallow. He's more inside of that net on that goal line, but moves really well side to side. And that
first 2 years played at attack for Carolina. He's got the body and the build of a midfielder at 6'4", 225. Older brother Evan was a star defender at Carolina.
That coming downhill on you, that's tough to stop.
You just get out of the way of the freight train.
Oh, yeah. And he could shoot like that. It's a great midfielder. Made in a lab.
Wambach. Load a high stinger missile.
He wanted that. He said, oh, North Carolina was in last year. Will probably be in last this year, but didn't think about the talent that was improving and possibly taking a jump. And obviously that's a question. You never know. Is that talent going to take a jump? But when you add Gianfrancaro, add Andrew O'Berry, add Wertheim, Penn getting a good ride too. It shores up your team, and now they're a national championship contender, I'd say. See that there's a little bit of space to get that feed inside, and finding him. Levy doing a great job on man up for North Carolina.
Levy's 5 man-up goals last year were the most on this Tar Heel team. Colin Hannigan getting a rep at the dot. Big check from Drew Scott to knock it free. Carolina starting to open up the bench. The task now, save some bodies, save some breath for Sunday.
This is a big weekend for both these teams. You got North Carolina has Princeton after this, which is supposed to be one of the best teams in the country. One of the officials going to the score table right now. That's why we have one of the best. His patience, his hand speed. He waits for that ball to be released, does not guess. Extremely good goalie.
His head coach last year at Princeton, Matt Madelon, said he could be watching a casual stick work drill or a warm-up, but if you're not going 100%, Michael pass. That was Reedy's first touch of the ball all night.
Coach Bresci has to be happy with how this offense, yes, they've scored 15 goals, but they've done it in such a different way than in the past. With the ball, you see he can't even go after it, but that's more because of the quick shot and quick release from Penn.
15th hat trick in the career of Cam Rubin. He scored the game winner in Penn's win over Duke last year. That was a #1 ranked Duke team. And we hear from Lauren George, our
amount of net you can possibly shoot at, and when you get a look like that, step down in the center of the field, you have as much space as possible to get that ball in the back of the net, and goes low on Gianfrancaro.
Robo has it knocked away. Smith can't grab it. Thought we'd hear a bit more from Ben Smith tonight. Last year in the Ivy League tournament final, he had 4 goals on Gianfrancaro. But Carolina has not given him the room to operate. Even
goalie Smith, one of the biggest goalie coaching in college lacrosse. A lot of the best goalies practice with them. They said it on Twitter. It's the year of the goalie. I couldn't agree more. So many great goalies in college lacrosse. Behind the cage and getting some confidence for this offense, just seeing the ball go in the back of the net and working on some of the sets that they're running, and hoping that they can fine-tune some things, knowing that there has to be a lot of adjustments going into that Duke game. Like I said, the only way they've been able to beat it is really just taking shots outside. They had the one garbage goal in front that they picked up, but they've had to rely on the perimeter, and when you got a goalie like Gianfrancaro, that's usually tough.